Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here together again. And in today's video, we're gonna be talking about the ranking of all 9 episodes of She-Hulk Attorney at Law, ranking them from the worst to the best. Let's go ahead and get started ranking all 9 of these episodes. Now, this episode easily comes dead in last place because the episode doesn't really know what it's trying to figure out. It has these two weird storylines about someone getting scammed and thinking they were dating Megan Thee Stallion with this Asgardian magician elf that can transport herself into Megan Thee Stallion. And then it also deals with the plot line of Abomination getting out of prison and Wong, and the whole reason behind why he fought Wong and brought him to that in Shang-Chi wasn't exactly the most, the best answer in the world, that he only fought him because he had to become Sorcerer Supreme. Kind of a weak detail there. And, the whole time with the elf and stuff, and it just felt the whole episode just felt very awkward, and it just felt like it didn't really need to happen, though. The fact that Abomination got out of prison was pretty cool. But then, of course, you have the infamous scene with She-Hulk and Megan Thee Stallion twerking. And I guess you could say it kind of fits for this show, as they broke the fourth wall in the 9th episode. So, I guess it kind of works, but overall, kind of a mess of an episode. Okay, so, I kind of talked about something. If you go to number 6 on this, I kind of thought this was the 8th episode I was talking about, but no, this is the episode. I just do not like this episode of Titania stealing her name and making her the cover of She-Hulk, and this whole idea of it just felt kind of weird, and her losing her in court. The whole episode just did not feel right to me, so did not like it at all. Now, this is another episode that I think was pretty good. It was another fine one. Definitely, I think what it did pretty well was introduced some nice little characters and introducing more of these other characters, having Titania come back and acting like a good guy, but then having a bit of a cool little action sequence at the end. Having more fun with Titania was pretty fun. And honestly, this episode overall just kind of felt weird, something weird. It was fine, but I don't feel like we needed it. Just seeing her party and stuff and just being Jen just kind of felt a little weird at times. So I thought this episode was a little weird, but overall a fine episode. Now, this is an episode that was kind of a little bit interesting, but not the best one at all. It focuses on this, magician sort of guy, where it brings back Wong, and you have, She-Hulk and Wong protecting the reality from, these monsters, and it's a cool little concept to have She-Hulk and Wong team up, but the idea of this villain of, using bad magic to cast spells to portals to other worlds and stuff, and then even though the worst part about this episode was the Madison character, which I just found extremely annoying, and I just didn't find anything funny of her, and honestly, everybody that's referencing all these jokes about her, I just don't remember anything, because this was an episode that was just very bleak to me, and so that's why it's very low on the list, to be honest. Well, the first episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law, I thought it was actually a pretty good episode, where you basically just get the origin story for She-Hulk, where you get to see how she got her powers, learn some stuff about the Hulk, and basically learn about the struggles of being a Hulk, but at the same time, learning that she can do it infinitely more than the actual Hulk. And it was a nice little origin story. There are some issues in the way that the characters worked a little bit, but overall, and you'll also get some nice little Hulk action in there, and testing out their skills and strengths. Overall, I thought it was a nice little thing, and I think a big payment here was Captain America is not a virgin, and that he lost his virginity to a girl in 1943 on the USO tour. Nice little detail, but yeah, this episode is pretty good. Now, this was an episode that I was so surprised with, as of all of the MCU Disney Plus finales, it's probably the most different. Where it's not this big finale where it has a bunch of flash and plot and action shoved into one big finale. No, it actually does something different, where you actually have She-Hulk coming out of the Disney Plus menu and going to Marvel Assemble to change the finale, while at the same time referencing a bunch of MCU stuff. And that's awesome and something unique that they did in the comic, where she actually references that the thing she's in is an actual comic, and it was just such a really unique thing to do. I like how they actually set up the Planet Hulk storyline. I'm excited to probably see Wong and Abomination in the Midnight Suns. So there's a lot of things that I'm very excited to see when it comes to this project. But at the same time, this episode was pretty good, as it did something different from all these different finales. Now, this episode was probably one of the best She-Hulk episodes we've gotten. And I think the big part of what makes this episode really work is that and it's not just because of Daredevil coming back in the MCU after having a little cameo in No Way Home, but they really compact the story of Jen's journey becoming She-Hulk and doing the lawyer stuff and being a superhero, and they really incorporate that with Daredevil coming back, where he is the lawyer, but at the same time he's the best boyfriend that Jen's ever hooked up with. As he talks about that Jen and She-Hulk are awesome and how they can both be incorporated in saving the world, but at the same time you also just get some great chemistry when they're Daredevil. And even the CGI practical effects I thought were pretty cool. And then you get some nice little Daredevil action, and then you get them to smash. And I thought this was one of the best episodes of She-Hulk ever. And then the episode climaxes with her realizing that this is what Bruce was talking about. When people start seeing you as a monster, it never goes away. So I was like, this episode was great. It did the story well, and of course you got some great return of Daredevil coming back. Awesome episode, period. But for me, I think that this episode kind of brought back to that tone of the episode, where the episode kind of opens up with this montage of Jen being on a date with this guy, and once they hook up one night and he talks, and then he leaves, and he hasn't heard from him in days. He goes to Abomination's house again, and with this crew of people, once again, this crew of characters, really fun people to be with. I like all of them. At the same time, I thought they were going to turn on Jen, but then I'm like, oh, no. They're good people now. And the way that it actually goes back to Jen's little arc in the film, where, in the show, I mean, where, the arc that she went through in this episode just kind of was a little weird at times, but at the same time, I understood what was going on and like what she meant. Like, someone finally found that she likes Jen, and now that he left, it sucks. And I guess it's understandable, and they actually took a little bit more serious to actually like explore that a little bit, which I loved. And that was actually kind of cool. And then when you realize that Josh was the bad guy, that's where things started to get really intense and made you invested for the next episode. So that's pretty much what this episode really did. It was just really good. Now, this was an episode that I thought was really good, where it really tackled this storyline of She-Hulk and how that has impacted the world, and like her being She-Hulk, her being a lawyer because she's She-Hulk, and it kind of ruined her life in a way, and kind of did a Spider-Man on her. It really kind of ruined her life, and people are saying no because of it. And it's like, it makes a lot of sense when you really, like, it's hard to explain, but at the center you understand what she's saying. And then when she gets a new job, when she gets the job immediately, it's kind of weird at times, but overall I thought it was pretty cool. But when she starts to do stuff for Abomination, and then you start to realize Abomination was actually kind of the hero in this, and that he just wanted to be bloody Captain America in this, was kind of interesting. And yeah, so you just get an episode that was pretty fun and enjoyable. So I thought this episode did some good stuff on her arc, did a nice story with Return for Abomination, and also kind of gave a tease for what Hulk was doing, and then a nice little teaser at the end with the stuff from Shang-Chi. So that was great. So that's my ranking of all 9 She-Hulk episodes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the About section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.